Everybody is born with a little something extra, and sometimes they just have to find it. A little something extra is that superpower that every single one of us has inside that motivates us and drives our passion and makes us do the things that we do.
We're all on the same team. Let's think about how we can make that team as inclusive as we can.
For those of you listening to our podcast right now, you can also check out our video podcast at alittlesomethingextrapodcast.org.
All right, open us up.
Are we ready?
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of A Little Something Extra with me, Nancy Gianni, and, of course, the Gigi and Franco Gianni.
Yes.
And I am really super excited about this guest today. I actually just walked out into the Playhouse, and when we had some technical difficulties, and everybody, they were like, who are you interviewing today? And I said it. They were like, no way. That guy's so cool. He's doing awesome stuff. So I'm so excited to talk about it. You going to give us a little intro?
Yeah, I will give a little intro about it. So Curtis Hargrove is our guest on the podcast today. So he's a Canadian endurance athlete and a philanthropist known for his long-distance running and his financial efforts. Most recently, which this is insane, he just completed running the Chicago Marathon in high heels, and I think they were 4-inch high heels.
That is insane.
In an effort to raise money for victims of domestic abuse. I mean, seeing it on his Instagram and everything, it's unbelievable. So this was just one of his most recent races. His philanthropic running all began when he was 18, when he ran across British Columbia. Some of his other insane achievements have included walking nearly 200 miles in high heels, running across Canada, running 34 marathons in 34 days. I mean, he has a bunch of them that we're going to want to talk about today. So he's seriously committed to making a difference in this world, and just on so many fronts, too. He does so much for so many different groups.
Well, and he's clearly committed to challenging himself.
Yes, that is for sure. So he's an absolute superhero. So we want to welcome to the show Curtis Hargrove. Thank you for joining us today, man.
Thank you for having me today, guys. I'm so happy that you guys reached out to me to help share my story.
Oh my gosh, we love your story and we love your purpose. I think that that's like the bigger part, and we love the way you challenge yourself for the greater good. You are out there doing things, you're having fun, and you're making a difference in the world. So give us a little background story, brother. Tell us how this all got started.
So my first fundraising project actually was when I was 15. So my dad used to work for the Coal Lake Ice, the junior B hockey team. There was a girl named Sandra Shipclark. She had cerebral palsy, and she was going around selling calendars and stuff to people to raise money for a new device. So in these calendars, it had like the hockey players' favorite players or favorite NHL teams. And I reached out to her mother and I was like, hey, do you think I could help raise money for this? And, she kind of laughed because, I'm 15. It's a pretty ambitious goal to just try and do something like this.
Yeah.
So we ended up throwing on a 24-hour floor hockey tournament, and we raised $25,000 to get a new communications device. So this new communications device, she was able to, text message, listen to music, do all the things that we would like to do.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome. At 15.
Yeah, at 15, yeah.
And then that was like your first little dabble into fundraising and giving back, and then it obviously grew into more. So what was your next catalyst for change?
So I actually was part of the Northeastern Alberta track team out of St. Paul in Alberta here. And I used to travel there 2 times a week to train. And then my uncle, he's like, you should run a marathon. And my coaches weren't too happy because you're 15, your bones are still growing.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm going to do this. And so I ended up running the Edmonton Centennial Marathon, which is cool. So it was Edmonton celebrating being a city for 100 years. So it was a special one.
Yeah.
And I ended up winning the 19 and under category, finishing the marathon in a time of 3:57:42.
Oh my gosh, that is crazy.
7 in your first marathon. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
At that young age also. And then so that kind of sparked the whole thing. So after that, you just got addicted to running marathons and wanting to do it for a purpose.
Yeah. So the big inspiration behind me is my grandfather. Unfortunately, he passed away last year. He was a big role model in my life. He raised lots of money for the Terry Fox Foundation and other charities throughout the years. He's raised over hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so when I graduated, when I turned 18, my grandfather was diagnosed with prostate cancer. I decided to run for my grandfather and Terry Fox, our Canadian hero. So I set out on a journey on August 12, 2007. I ran 34 marathons in 34 days across all of Alberta and British Columbia, and raised $50,000 for the Terry Fox Foundation.
Oh my gosh, that is insane. So wait, you're running 34 marathons in 34 days. So like what?
Yeah.
Like when you finish, because don't you like? Of course, clearly I've never ran a marathon, but
No.
you've never. So like, don't you have to eat like a bunch of carbs? Like, and there's a lot of training that leads up to it, and isn't it very specific? How was that on like?
The physical toll
Right.
that it took on you in order to accomplish something like that.
What did a day look like for you during that time?
So yeah, so a day, I'll break down a day because
Yeah.
it is really mental. Running is a mental game.
Totally.
And so I have this cute, actually, I'm going to pull it out for you. I got this cute little pink iPod.
Oh, I
See
love
this
it.
thing?
Got your
Oh
shuffle?
my gosh.
Yeah, my little shuffle.
Dude, you had
So
that
I've
same
had
shuffle.
this-
Did you see it?
I've
Wow.
had this shuffle since 2007, and it hasn't let me down. And so I have that on me. And then, you know, running, like obviously I was a lot smaller too back then. I was about 150 pounds,
Yeah.
and I could run like the wind back then. But so we would break it down into 2 kilometer increments, or 1 mile, 1.6 miles, whatever. Anywhere that was safe to do so. So the RV would drive ahead, and then I would run to the RV. I'd have a water break, and then on the second one, I'd have Gatorade and like snacks like gummy worms or something sugary to keep me motivated. And
Yeah.
how I break it down, I was like, okay, well, 42K, that's really only 26 stops of 2K. And then really, it's only 13 stops to lunch break. So I break it down into increments like that to make it
Smart.
seem a little easier, right?
Mhm. But like,
Really smart.
okay, so that's when you're doing one marathon, but then like by the time you're doing it every single day, and you say it's a mental game, but at the end of the day, I mean, that's a lot of accumulated miles or kilometers over that time. Like what's the physical toll that it takes on someone to run that much over day by day? And I know you've done it a bunch of different times through different
Yeah.
types of events, but like, how does that feel?
It's just like Groundhog Day. Like you think of Bill Murray in the movie Groundhog
Yeah.
Day, wake up every day, the same thing's going on. That's exactly what it is. Pushing yourself out of bed. The first 6 to 10 kilometers of a day is usually the toughest for me. And then it's like, boom, my brain
Get it.
flicks a switch, and it's like, you've done this before. We've done this many of times. And, and then I like I've always mentioned, I think about the people I'm running for. So, the kids in the hospital for, the kids with cancer. I think about the domestic violence victims. My pain I go through is nothing compared to what these guys go through on a daily basis.
That is awesome. It's so true. We say that too with the individuals with Down syndrome. When we talk about, we think something is hard, and then we think about what their life is like with the low muscle tone, everything else they have going on, wearing that diagnosis on their face. They can't take a break from their diagnosis. They can't shed that differentness at the end of the day. It's with them everywhere they go. And that inspires me. So I love hearing you say that, because I get it. I get it,
Same
brother.
inspiration.
Same thing. You really get that inspiration from the people that are out there that you're trying to help. But I'm still going to go back to this. So what do you do? Okay, so you get the run done, and then you have another one tomorrow. What does your afternoon and night look like when you're doing 34 in 34 days? Like, after you finish the run, do you like take a nap, or do you make yourself stay awake so you sleep at night? Like, what do you do then?
Yeah, like I was really bad for it. I think that's why I ended up with a lot of injuries. I didn't stretch very much because I'm like, I just want to get to this RV. I want to have food. I want to go to bed.
Yeah, sure.
You're not thinking of the next day. You're just thinking of taking
Getting it done.
each moment as it comes. And when you go into communities, it's pretty cool because like a lot of the places I went, a lot of businesses or hotels and places would sponsor us, campgrounds. It's amazing that how much people support you and they don't even know you. They hear
So
your
cool.
story. They're like, we want to help.
Absolutely.
So it's nice. And you really, the biggest thing about it is I'm not trying to set any land speed records. I'm trying to get this done. I'm doing a marathon a day every day. I'm not doing it for speed. I'm doing it to finish, and I'm doing it to share the story. And in order to share the story, you need to go out and you need to get in the community. You need to not be scared. You need to be able to share that word with people.
Totally. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's an
So
incredible way to
awesome.
do it. I mean, the whole reason that we were able to find you and everything that you were doing is because you've done such an amazing job with that and getting those stories out there. And I mean, like what you just recently did, which the one in Chicago, I don't know how you pulled off that marathon. I mean, I saw the videos and everything of your feet and everything after. So I do want to skip ahead, but I have a couple different questions about the different things that you've done. But for the Chicago Marathon that you just recently did,
Yeah.
you ran the whole marathon in 4-inch red high heels, right?
They were 3-inch.
3-inch high heels.
The
Sorry.
ones in
easier.
2013 were the ones in 2013 were 4 inches, and they turned into 2. But yeah, so these ones were 3 inches, and they were specifically welded because I attempted this twice before. I broke a high heel at the Edmonton Marathon, 6 kilometers in, and then at the Regina Marathon, I managed to do 21 kilometers, so a half marathon, and the heel was going on me there, and it was super hot, and I wasn't going to make the cutoff, so I DQ'd myself, and then I was like, "Okay, we got to go back to the drawing board. We got to figure this out."
Yeah.
And I got my friends to weld it because the heel was hollow inside, so they put a piece inside, welded it together, and then they made a platform off of that, and still keeping it within the Guinness standards. So we welded them. I had the spare just in case. I knew the welds weren't going to break.
Right.
But yeah, and then I just taped them to my feet so they wouldn't come off my feet.
Oh my gosh. I think about going to a wedding or wearing like when you're wearing it all day and wearing heels all day, then you're dancing and you're on I am telling your feet my dogs are barking. Like by the end of the night, you're taking your shoe off and you can't even put it back on because then your feet just swell up. Like when you've been having them like that. I cannot even imagine running a marathon like that.
Yeah. What was the mental process having to deal with your feet really barking by that point?
So yeah, like I mentioned in a couple videos. So this guy named Rob Dalto, I met him. He's an influencer, amazing dude. He shares a lot of videos and tips and tricks. And one of his videos, he states, the Chicago Marathon goes out with a bang. He said, take your time. Well, I didn't. I went out with a bang. I ran my first 5 kilometers in heels in 27 minutes.
Oh my God.
And then I ended up doing my first 10 kilometers in 58 minutes. So I was on pace for a 4-hour marathon in heels. And I was about, an hour and a bit ahead of the world record time. And I think that did take a little bit of toll on me. But I was trying to get it done as quick so I could save some time in the end, right?
Yeah,
if I was still being able to go for the record. And then I got to about just after the 10 kilometer mark, 15, 20, I was starting to get the huge blood blisters on the bottom of my feet. And by 25K is when I had to stop and I had to go to the medical tent. So that was probably the toughest part of the race because I had to ask them. I said, hey, can you guys rip this K-tape and this tape off my feet? And then ripping this tape off my feet is ripping the blisters off my feet. And just having to tape it back up on the very, very sensitive skin. Yeah. And then when I tried to stand up, my legs got tight and my feet didn't want to go back into the high heels. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this again. And my thoughts are like, shut up, Curtis. You got this. Like, think of the reason why you got here. You're here to support women and children who suffer from domestic violence. You came all the way from Canada to Chicago. You're finishing this marathon. And then I got myself back out there, got myself motivated, and I used the crowd. The energy of the crowd is unreal.
It's
like
incredible.
you think there's 50,000 other runners, 50,000 runners, people talking to you constantly, high-fiving you, giving you fist bumps. And then, of course, the crowd, you see a lot of these. People are like, what's going on? What's going on? And then I was like, people are cheering and screaming. And I really use that as my motivation.
Wow.
That's unbelievable. And so when you started, you put tape on your feet to ensure to try to avoid getting any of those blisters, anything like that, and also be able to tape the shoes on. And so just at that point, halfway through, it's worn down. Like there's no way that there's preventing this blistering from happening or anything like that. Like there's no good way of running in high heels.
Yeah. People ask me, try moleskin, all these things. Like nothing really worked for me because I was rubbing so bad. And of course I am wearing very pointy stilettos because that's what the record stated. You had to wear stilettos. They had to be at least 2.75 inches and they had to be no bigger than 1.5 centimeters at the tip. So on the bottom of the heel, it had to be just tiny. So that's the reason I was wearing. I know a lot of people have been questioning. It's like, why didn't you wear wedges or platform or whatever? And it's like,
no,
because there was a standard. And I had to meet that standard. So
Oh my God.
That's
And-
amazing, though.
Well, not to mention not only your feet. What about your calves? Because that's like being on your
Yeah.
tiptoes. Like your calves.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Believe me, I know that next day after just being on it all day like that, your calves definitely get had to be killing you.
Yeah, well, you know what? The calves and the quads were super tight. It's actually funny you mentioned that because a guy I worked with not too long ago, he's like, "We saw you on the news," and he's like, "I told my wife you were doing this," and he's like, "I'm not showing her the news no more." He said she sat in front of that video and she's like, "Damn, that guy has some nice calves," and um, you know, it 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 hurts. I was feeling every little bit of it, but again, like I said, it's I think of the women and the children. I mentioned
Yeah.
it time and time again, and it's true. It's like my pain is nothing. My blisters and any injuries that I have are going to heal. Some of these people might not heal from their trauma, and you know,
Wow.
I've received so many stories. Honestly, in my messages, I've received a lot of messages from women. I've had women send me personal photos of their domestic violence,
Oh my
some
gosh.
things that people wouldn't want to see, and then they've showed me them recovered 8-10 years later,
that's awesome.
and it really opens your eyes to how much this happens in our world. And that's why I'm out here. I'm trying to raise money, and I have pretty thick skin. I know there's a lot of trolls out there. There's a lot of negative people. Um, you know, yes, I've been doing charity work my whole life. In order to get out there, you have to get attention for the charity. So
Yeah.
yes, I'm doing it to get attention, but I'm not doing the attention for me. It's to raise
Right.
money and awareness for this charity.
Which is
And
huge.
I just like to go above and over the top because I feel like that's more a way you can make an impact.
Oh, totally.
It's so crazy how people could be so blind to that too. It's like you're literally doing fundraising. And
Yes.
the only way to do that is be able to get in front of people's in front of people so they can see what you're doing, and then they see the commitment that you have to being able to fight for this cause.
Yeah, and the awareness to that cause. I mean,
that as well, yeah.
Yeah, the awareness to that cause is everything. I mean, especially, domestic abuse is happening everywhere. There could be people in our building right now that this is happening to privately, and we don't even know about it, and they're too ashamed to come forward. And there's places and people like you bringing awareness to it and giving them the confidence and to come forward and to not be so afraid and to know that people are out there fighting for them means everything. So I'm just like, I'm so proud of you, brother. I think it's awesome what you're doing, and there's not many people like you out in the world. So thank you so much for all of that, which is
Thank you.
is amazing. I know G, just look at me. She wants to ask her questions. I'm sorry, she's got some questions for you. You
Go
ready?
get them, Gigi. Yeah.
Okay. All right, you can do.
Which marathon has been the most difficult?
Which
Which marathon or event? Because you've done a couple different running endurance challenges.
Yeah, so Gigi, I love this question because there's so many. To be honest, this was one of the hardest, but I think my most hardest marathon was after I tore my Achilles. I tore my Achilles
Oh my
in
gosh.
2018. I fully ruptured it. I ran my first marathon 7 months after I tore my Achilles. It's the first injury I've taken serious in my life. And I was running for my friend's daughter. Her name was Princess Emma. She has DIPEG. She had an inoperable brain tumor.
Oh my goodness.
She unfortunately passed away. Just recently, it was her 4-year anniversary, I believe, from her passing. And I promised that I would run my first marathon in honor of Princess Emma. And it took me 5 hours and 7 minutes, I think, to run this marathon. And I mean, like, it was grueling pain because I don't have that flexibility in my Achilles, and like I just kept pushing forward. I'm thinking about Princess Emma. I'm thinking about how much people she's influenced in her life in such a short little time. And honestly, Gigi, I think that was the hardest one next to this, because the other ones, I was doing it every day. But these were ones with a purpose. These were ones that like I really truly needed to get done.
Yeah. And you were digging in deep too. I mean, to be able to run a marathon with a ruptured Achilles, 7 months after ruptured Achilles. I mean, it takes
much pain.
Professional athletes a year, longer than a year, to be able to come back from an injury like that with all the physical therapy that you could possibly need, and constantly working on it every day. So the fact that you went out there and did that, God bless you, man. That is an incredible feat. That is really awesome.
Go ahead.
What else you got, Gigi?
She just looks at me. She goes, I remember when I ran a 5K. I go, yeah, well, this is a little bit more than a 5K. All right, go ahead.
How are you feeling if it looks painful?
It looked really painful.
How
How
are
are
your
they
feet?
now? How long has it been? It's been, what, a week?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Almost 2 weeks, yeah. So it actually, this wasn't a lot better for me. I had a lot of help at the Chicago Marathon. Like when I got to mile 25, they had already. I told them, I was like, could you message them that I'm coming in hot
Oh.
and I need my feet. I need my feet looked at right away. So as soon as I got through it, and the hardest part, so you finish the marathon and then you still got to walk about a mile. To
That's
get
what
to
I
the end of the
heard.
corral.
Yeah.
You get your medal and you get to the end of the corral, and then I found the medical tent and they brought me in, and the doctor and the medical students were amazing. So like, of course, this was the hardest part is, ripping off the tape again.
Oh, God.
And then I don't mean to be graphic, but I mean they had to cut away the skin. They had to cut away the skin, and then they had to put the ointment on my feet, and I was screaming in there, like putting that ointment on, because like
It's
everything's
raw skin.
just
It's
open.
raw. Yes.
Everything's opened up in but yeah, and then they bandaged my feet. I'm not sure if you saw the pictures of my bandaged feet. And then because it was so busy, I had to walk another kilometer
No.
to my hotel because it was so hard to get an Uber or get taxis or whatever. So I'm walking around the streets of Chicago with my friend and her mother,
Oh, my
trying
gosh.
to get to my hotel with these big bandages on my feet.
Oh
But
my
no, because they took such good care of me, when I came home, the blisters and everything healed pretty quick. Like
Yeah.
I flew home
good.
on Monday at a 50-hour layover in Detroit because my flights got messed up. Then I had 7 hours of flights to Vancouver, Edmonton, and then I drove home for 3.5 hours, and then I went straight to bed, went to work the next day in high heels, and then on the weekend I was playing hockey. I had my skates on. So like I was just bandaging myself up and just doing my normal life. But yeah, they've healed really well. I haven't had any issues since I got back.
That is crazy. Did you say you went to work in high heels?
No, in steel toe boots.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait, what? Where's he working? Oh my
Once
god.
he had him on, he couldn't take him off. He was
That
really
was
into
it.
it.
That's
he,
right.
was, he was hooked.
He was like, I got to show him
just
these
felt-
calves.
Yeah, it
Those
just felt like
calves.
running.
That's awesome, though.
Oh
That's
my
crazy
gosh,
that
that's
you recovered that
hilarious.
quickly.
How did you get the name Cold Lake Runner?
Cold Lake Runner. Yeah.
Cold Lake Runner. So the Cold Lake Runner is from my run across Canada for the Stollery Children's Hospital. So I'll branch to the story if that's okay for a little bit.
Yeah,
So,
please do. I
yeah,
wanted to
so
ask about it anyway.
So I want to give you guys, in between, so we talked about my run across Alberta and BC. Then I went off to Red Deer College, playing soccer and running for the running team there. I kind of got into a crappy atmosphere. I ended up getting into the party scene. I didn't really care about school and stuff. One night I was walking home from the bar and I was drunk. It was like minus 30, 35 out. And I'm like looking for a sign. I'm like, I need a sign. I need to change. I'm not who I used to be. I need something to happen. And that next morning, I kid you not, I got my sign. I got a call from my local radio station, K-Rock. They were asking, there was a girl named Delaney Saunders. She was from Marwayne. She was diagnosed with a rare type of tumor in her foot. She had cancer. She had heard about all my fundraising efforts, and she asked if I'd be willing to help her. So that was my sign. I
Oh my
left.
God, I have
after my
goosebumps
second year-
everywhere.
My
Oh
second year of college, and I made a surprise trip to the Stollery Children's Hospital, and I announced that I was going to run across Canada for the Stollery Children's Hospital.
Oh my
And
gosh.
to tie that in, yesterday was actually a special day for me. So yesterday, I actually traveled to the Stollery Children's Hospital in Edmonton. It's about 3 hours away. I got honored on their new donor wall. They unveiled a new donor wall yesterday, so I got to be a part of that event. So it was pretty special to me. So yeah, that's kind of how
amazing,
that
man.
ties into
Congratulations.
everything there.
That is
So
so
on my
cool.
run across Canada, my story kind of blew up. I got arrested in Quebec for running on the highway, and the story just spread everywhere. So there was this guy named Simon O'Lenny, and he started creating comics of me. And between him and Jordan Newton, he owns Tronic Productions. They came up with the Cold Lake Runner, and then so that logo was used on my shirts that we had made by ThinkWorks in Bonnyville.
Okay.
And so that Cold Lake Runner was my new logo now for the run across Canada.
Oh,
So that's kind of how it all came about. So it's pretty cool.
That's very cool.
And how long did that run across Canada take? Because I know you had some things that got in the way that kind of derailed you a little bit.
9 months of running.
Okay.
Wow.
That's unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
And I bet it was just like an incredible run too. I mean, Canada's such a beautiful country and so scenic too. So to be able to
how many
chart that path.
What is your team when you do something like that? What does your team look like? Like you got somebody driving ahead, or what does that look like?
Yeah. So I will share this. This was a pretty cool story. So for the for the run across Canada, everything kind of fell apart right at the end, like right at the start. Sorry. So I had specific people, family members, friends to be drivers along the way. I got a call that a company that I was using for the like an RV sponsor, somebody had crashed an RV into a gas pump or whatever. So their insurance went up, and unfortunately, I couldn't get the RV that I had. So now I didn't have an RV. My family wants me to postpone the run. It's April 27th at this point. It's my dad's birthday. I'm supposed to fly out on the 29th. So I'm downtown Cold Lake with my mother, and she's like, "Don't you do it?" And I'm like, "What?" She's like, "Don't you do it?" And I had a flight sponsored from OSAM, an oil field company. So I went to the travel agency while my mom was down getting stuff for dad's birthday. I booked my flights to Newfoundland without even telling anybody, because I was supposed to start on May 1st. And we get back after dad's birthday. I'm like, "Hey, we're going to Newfoundland, going to do this." And
oh my gosh.
so I called the Sheraton in St. John's, Newfoundland, and I talked to a lady named Tina French. She gave me 3 nights free stay at the hotel. I flew out to Newfoundland with no drivers, no nothing, because everything was changed.
Oh my god.
And so I get to the hotel, and it's a long day, so I'm having a drink at the bar, and I'm telling this guy, and he's like, "Well, this so happens to be my dad's the mayor of Belle Island, and he knows all these people." He's like, and Newfoundland, Newfies are some of the nicest people you'll ever meet in Canada. And he's like, "They'll give you the shirt off your back." So I put an ad on Kijiji, say, "I need someone to drive my RV across Canada in 2 days. If you can do it, let me know. Leave me a message." I had this girl, Morgan Seward. She replies to my Kijiji ad. 19-year-old.
No way.
She's just, she just finished school. She's looking to get out. She had a rough go, and of course, her mother comes and meets me at the hotel, and she's like, I can't say what she said to me, but it was like, "If anything happens to my daughter," she's like, "I'll find you.
Yeah.
I'll find you."
Yeah.
And because we're strangers, right?
Right.
And so so it ended up happening. A couple strangers going on the road, and then some family came. My uncle Peter, he's very supportive. He comes out on a lot of the journeys that I do. So Uncle Pete came out. My family comes out anywhere along the journey. So that's kind of how we did it. But Morgan was my driver for the whole way.
Oh my
and
god.
then our friend Noelle joined us from Ontario. She came and joined us in Winnipeg, and she joined for the rest of the journey. So I always had people on the road, and Morgan would do a lot of the organizing. So Morgan would drive the RV. She would upload the videos to Facebook and everything that we're doing. And
Awesome.
that little pink iPod that I told you about,
Yeah.
it's funny because like she would randomly download any song on that iPod. So I've got thousands of songs on there. I don't even know what I have still. So I'll be listening to something like hardcore to get me pumped up, like Kickstart My Heart or something, and then I'll go to T Swift or I'll go to Backstreet Boys or something crazy like. And it, you know what I mean? It
And it's a
kind
shuffle.
of makes me
Yeah.
laugh. And it's a
So
shuffle.
funny.
Yeah, it gets me excited because it's
Right.
like, all right.
It
Yeah.
gives you that memory too. That's so funny.
Yeah, reminder.
And
Yeah.
country music
Yeah.
too.
Oh,
Yeah.
and country music too. You think that should get him going too?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
good.
gets you going.
Oh yeah, I got some country on there.
There we go.
I love country music.
Yeah, she does. All right.
That's awesome. That's an
maybe
incredible story.
Maybe we'll have to 2-step one day.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes,
love
we
the
got to get to
two-step.
Canada, or next time you come to Chicago, let us know. Or
I know,
we've got
we just
Yeah.
missed him.
we have 61 locations all across the country. There's 61 Gigi's Playhouses, so we'll follow you and figure out where you're.
Well, whenever
traveling
we're
to.
going up to Canada.
Yeah, we definitely have. We actually have some inquiries up to open up in Canada. Multiple inquiries.
That's
in different
that's
parts of Canada.
amazing.
That
That's
would
amazing
be really
what you
cool.
guys do.
Oh my gosh, we're so blessed, brother. So blessed, like you though. You know what I mean? You're doing it for others, and when you do that, you just have a blessed life. So yeah, we feel really blessed.
Mhm.
All right, go ahead, Gigi.
When did you start running?
So I started running in junior high. I was always a runner. Like played soccer. And I played every sport. Hockey, basketball, track and field, cross country. You name it, I was doing it. And then I mentioned previously, I did the Northeastern Alberta track, ran my first marathon when I was 15, and then I decided to take my love of running and my passion of helping others and put them together. And that's how I became, like I said, the Cold Lake Runner and doing all
Cold
these
Lake Runner.
wonderful
So cool.
events for different people.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I played basketball once. I was in the Special Olympics once.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she
you've done a
was.
couple different sports.
Yep.
So,
That's incredible.
thank you.
So humble. I love it.
Right.
If you had one message to the world, what would it be?
So my buddy that just passed away in April, his name is Eddie Nolan. He's somebody who's inspired me as well. He has raised so much money for charities as well. And one of the things he always used to say is, be kind, costs nothing.
Love that. Easy.
Mhm.
And it's simple. It's not
Yeah.
that hard. Every
Yeah.
single one of us can do it.
Mhm.
That's it. We have a social campaign called Generation G. Be generous, be
Yeah.
kind,
Oh,
be
oh,
accepting.
I wanna say
sorry,
it.
you can go ahead.
No,
And
that's fine.
say it. Well, you sure?
It's fine. That's fine.
You sure?
Yes.
Did you want to ask the other question about
Are you dating anyone?
are you
I am
dating
not.
anyone?
I am single.
Oh.
Oh.
The DMs have been a little crazy. A lot of people shooting their shots, and I
Yeah.
mean, hey, I mean, good for them. No, I've been single for a while. I've just been focusing on bettering my life again and getting myself back into where I am. I mean, obviously, I'm open to dating and stuff, but I've just been, especially now, I've been so busy.
Yeah.
And it's really hard for me because I was working in camp for a lot. So like I work in the oil field. I work on a service rig.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah, so I work,
Okay.
some days I work 12, 14-hour days.
Mhm.
I'm working in camp 3 weeks on, 3 days off. I'm not home very often, and it takes a very special person to be able to accept somebody that's, working
Mhm.
so much and never home. So I think that's the hardest thing. Now that I'm working from home, it's a lot easier to maybe meet people. But
Mhm.
yeah, no, I'm single, and
Oh,
I'm just
I,
doing my thing.
I'm dating someone too. So.
oh, she's dating. It always comes around to her boyfriend whenever.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yep. You want
She's
to tell them
got
about
a
your boyfriend?
Yeah, tell me.
His name is Lucas. He
Yeah.
has a little autism.
A little autism.
A little autism.
Okay.
Love
Yeah.
that.
Okay, he always drive me anywhere.
He drives her everywhere. They go out on dates all the time.
Aw.
Yeah, they're.
Mhm.
How long has it been?
Um.
It's gonna be what? What's your anniversary? coming up?
Our anniversary is coming up, and it's gonna be 2 years.
2
years.
years. Woo!
2 years. Okay, well maybe I'll send you guys a little something for your 2-year anniversary. And
Ooh.
that's amazing. That's good that you guys are able to do those things, and it's good that he does that for you.
Yeah.
What's your guys' favorite thing to do together?
We like to do. We like to do. Go to a farm.
They like. Yep.
They like going to the farm. What
What
about
else? What is
you,
it?
you do something every single week that
Oh,
together?
bowling.
They go bowling.
Bowling.
all the
Bowling.
time.
Oh, I
Bowling-
love bowling. I did a
bowling
lot of
and-
bowling on the road.
Oh.
We like bowling, and we like miniature golfing too.
And miniature golfing.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, miniature golf.
You
Yeah,
guys are
never
busy.
go wrong with bowling miniature golf.
Yep. And going out to eat.
We do.
Yep.
That
All of
too.
it.
Just Saturday we do.
Just
but-
Saturdays.
so.
That's our cheat day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. And how that goes.
Oh yeah, always got to plug Lucas.
Yes.
Right?
So this, our podcast is called A Little Something Extra. What do you think is your a little something extra, that superpower that keeps you going, that makes you who you are?
I mean, I just think, I'm lucky to, come from the family I came from, to have the leadership in my family that I've had. And, not just that, like my experience growing up, I had a very, very positive coach in my life. His name is Shane Midford. He pushed me to the extremes. Like, he's one of those guys that would never give up on you. He was my coach in cross country running. He was my basketball coach.
Wow.
He's still my coach to this day. I actually just saw him yesterday, and he shared a nice post about me. But I want him to know that he is one of the reasons that I am the person that I am today, because he never gave up on me, and he knew when the struggling was getting tough, he'd always make me push to get to those extra limits to see how much I can do, how much I can take, and how
That's
I can
awesome.
keep going forward.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's clearly resonated with you really well.
Well,
mean, you can
yeah,
push yourself.
and it's a gift from God that you recognize it.
Yeah.
That these people in your life, and that hopefully, well, you already are being that influence and mentor to other people that have never even met you. So what he did for you, you're doing now by your actions. And I just think it's the coolest thing for, a young guy to start doing this and then continue doing it. Because everybody can try something I just want to run a marathon, and they run the marathon.
Yeah.
You want to continue to help others and change the world. And we just think that you are amazing. And we look forward to meeting you in person someday, right?
Right.
We're going to make that happen.
And then what's next for you? Also, do you have any plans for the future and something you want to embark on?
So I have a lot of people actually reaching out to me. So I've had a couple charities offer to give me charity bibs, and another charity bib for Chicago, charity bib for Boston, which would be in April. I've always wanted to run Boston, but for me, one of my goals in life was to always qualify for the Boston Marathon. But I'm looking at it at the end of the day right now. I am a charity marathon runner. It's what I do.
Right.
And I don't find any shame in going to do that. And it's something that I'm really considering.
Very cool.
I do. I will break the news with you guys. I will be running in high heels again. I was reached out to actually. So
Why?
I put a message out there to Sarah Blakely. So she's the founder of Spanx, and she created the new hybrid luxury high heel sneaks.
Oh yes.
And she reached out to me and she said I was very inspirational and what's your size? And I gave her my size. So it's looking like I'm getting some sneaks in the future, which means that we'll be putting those heels on one more time. Well, I'll be putting them on November 9th as well for the Walk a Mile event here in Cold Lake in my hometown. But we'll be trying one more time for the record and raising more money for domestic violence. And then I haven't really figured out what I'm doing in the future, but definitely some big things.
That'll be awesome. I saw that post that you made of those, and I mean, they definitely seem a lot better than the ones that you just wore. There might be a little bit more stability to them. Definitely more comfortable.
I like to wear high heels too.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, you like wearing high heels too? Yeah.
I love to wear high heels too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, clearly he does too, because he's doing it again.
Yeah, like you saw the pictures, like the grip they have on the bottom, and like they look like a runner.
Yes.
And
yes.
Like wide base. My toes won't be as pointy. Like
Right.
I honestly think I could fly in those things.
You totally can. It's such a difference after doing it in stilettos. Like I can't even do stilettos. Like when I see them, I love them. I think they're cool looking. There's no way my fat feet, they are not fitting in those stilettos, and let alone running in them.
Yeah. They literally look like the ones that you're talking about from Spanx. They look like they were built for you to run a marathon in.
Yeah.
Yeah, they look amazing, and I've been watching all their videos because they just
Mm-hmm.
launched this, and I mentioned that's why I couldn't find these because they just launched because I was online searching for comfortable high heels for men and stuff like this.
Comfortable high heels.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So the ladies, they got a new company sponsor for the foundation because a lot of these foundations they get high heels that are specifically made for males. So those are the ones that I had from Only Makers, and I mean the high heels lasted; they were amazing, and that's what a lot of males use or drag shows. They use those types of heels for their events. So that's what I use. But now that I saw these sneaks, and she reached out, I can't not say no.
No, totally. And you know what? You're still in heels. That's all that matters. It doesn't have to be stilettos. Like I didn't, until you guys talked about it, I didn't realize it was stilettos. I wouldn't even try to walk a half a mile in stilettos. So the fact that it was the heels is enough. It doesn't have to be stilettos.
But he's going for the Guinness World Record, and that's
it's
why.
still, I mean, like what the condition of your feet are going to be, and if he continues, is just.
Hey, he's building up callus every single time he does one. It's just so he can be able to get there a little closer each time.
The bottom of my feet are strong now.
I'm sure.
They're very strong.
Yeah, they're probably just like blocks of cement at this point.
That's what it feels like. I feel like I'm just carrying these blocks around.
Yeah. That's great. Well, yeah. Well, whenever you run that next marathon in those heels, we'll definitely make sure to be sharing that story.
Yeah, let us know. We'll be following.
Awesome.
Yeah, and especially if you decide to do it in Chicago too, we will be out there cheering you on because we're out of Chicago, so we will definitely make that happen.
Okay, well that's perfect because I honestly think if I am doing it again in the sneaks, I feel like it's the Chicago redemption, right?
Yeah.
Do it in Chicago. People know that I was there.
They'll be looking for you.
It'll be yeah, and then because like I said, I mean, I I just want to raise as much awareness for them. Like I had mentioned before, the record is cool and all,
Yeah.
but that was what I used to get the publicity for this
Yeah.
charity.
Yes.
You have to put yourself out there, and that's
totally
what people
do.
don't understand.
Yep.
I mean, and I'm not using it to brag, but I've raised, over 400, 500,000 for different charities all over.
That's awesome.
And that's how you do it. You get out
Mhm.
there, you get the word out there, and someone says, "Hey, like, oh, you're going for a Guinness World Record attempt." Well, now someone's paying attention.
Yes.
And now they know
so true.
and then they know the why. You're doing it for domestic violence. You're raising awareness for these families, and and then like I said, the heels. If I wasn't wearing heels and I was just wearing, and I'm not saying that people don't recognize you, but if I wasn't wearing the heels, I was just wearing a shirt or something.
Yeah, it takes.
I would have just,
You don't
I'm just
stand out.
another runner out there, right? And I'm not saying that in a mean way. It's just, it was the way to get the attention. And the walk a mile, wearing the high heels, was the significance for men showing their struggles, like you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
comparing
The
to what
symbolism
women
behind
go through. The
Yeah.
symbolism behind it is to see what women go through every day
Totally.
and the struggles that women go through every day. So that's the thing with
Awesome.
Walk a Mile. It happens all over Canada. So
It's a beautiful
Love it.
thing.
Well,
Yeah.
you've been amazing. And now we'd like to do, Jeech, you want to do your tips?
Gigi does a little segment about her tips that she has.
Want to do your tips?
perfect.
Do you say tips?
We did say tips.
Tips.
That's it. Bring it
short
out there.
tips
He's
today.
running in heels and you can't get that out there. Let her rip.
I don't get sing louder.
Go ahead. Do it again.
Tips.
That was good.
There we go.
Very high pitch.
Sorry.
Almost broke the glass in here.
Good. I want to do it higher.
Okay,
Yeah.
it was
All right.
great. All right, get
Go
into
ahead.
those
Let's see,
tips,
what are your
girl.
tips on?
Here are my tips on pushing through every day.
Pushing
Oh.
through every day.
Oh, that's on you, brother, right there.
I
Okay.
like that.
Wake up feeling thankful, even if it's hard sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Wake up feeling thankful.
Start off your day with a challenge and makes the rest of the day easy.
Start off with a challenge. Love
Excellent.
that.
Try to keep positive attitude. Stress is not good for you.
True.
Yep.
Feed yourself right. You put out what you can take in.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Feed
a good
yourself right. Yeah.
Surround yourself with the good people who help you.
one. Whoa.
Surround yourself with the good people who help you. Love that.
Good
Nice
tips.
tips, Cheech. I really like those. I
Drop
think
the
everyone.
mic.
Drop the mic.
Oh, drop the
There you
mic.
go.
Oh, she clearly liked her tips too.
Yeah. Do you have any other
love it.
advice for pushing yourself?
Gigi really nailed it. Those are some great things. And yeah, it is. You know what? My grandpa always used to say, he says, just be thankful that you woke up on this side of the earth every
That's
day.
right.
We woke up on the right side of the ground.
Yeah.
So be thankful for that. And, just be thankful for the life we're given. I'm very thankful for all the wonderful people I've met. And like I said, the people that I've met on these journeys are the people that continue to inspire me to do the things that I do. And that's the reason why I just keep pushing forward. And I get asked this a lot. And of course, like, people are like, you need to stop. You're hurting yourself. And I'm like, I've been doing this since I was 15. I said, I'm going to continue to do this till the day I die. And I truly mean that. I stand by that. I'm going to continue pushing forward. I'm going to keep continuing to crush these goals. And
Yep.
I really like those tips, Gigi, because
Thank
it
you.
really is true. You got to be stress free. You
Yeah.
got to be positive, and you got to be motivated.
Yeah.
Yes.
And challenge yourself. And you're such an inspiration to so many people, whether you know it or not. So at those times when it does get hard, just know that people are watching you. They're inspired by you. You're giving them confidence to stand up and be the person that God made them who they were supposed to be, even though people were knocking them down. So I think you're amazing. Keep fighting for all of those people out there in domestic abuse and all the other areas that you help people. I know your grandpa would be so proud. I'm sure he was at many of your races when he was here. And that's the thing I always say, like, you said, your grandpa inspired you. My mom inspired me. And it wasn't by
Yep.
her words. It was by her actions. It was by what she did, and I was watching her. And it's about all the other people that are watching you, your nieces and nephew, your neighbors, strangers. They are watching you and they are being inspired. And it is changing who they are. So thank you so much for being the amazing person you are, coming on our podcast. We can't wait to meet you in person. And you've been awesome, brother.
I will do see it with my boyfriend too.
Oh, Well, there's a whole reason
Perfect.
to come.
We'll make
She's
sure
going to
to do that.
introduce you to her boyfriend too.
Perfect. And we're going bowling.
And
we're
bowling.
going
Listen,
Yes.
Woo!
and you're bringing me somewhere where there's country music.
There we go.
Get it
It's a
all.
date.
Yep.
Yeah.
Get it all.
Oh, awesome, brother. Well,
Awesome.
thanks again, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Awesome. Thank you. Take
Thanks,
care.
Curtis.
Everybody is born with a little something extra, and sometimes they just have to find it. A little something extra is that superpower that every single one of us has inside that motivates us and drives our passion and makes us do the things that we do.
We're all on the same team. Let's think about how we can make that team as inclusive as we can.
For those of you listening to our podcast right now, you can also check out our video podcast at alittlesomethingextrapodcast.org.